Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video here on the ParkerLovesSports YouTube channel. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to spend them here with me. Now, if you wouldn't mind helping out by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, the support is greatly appreciated, as I'm trying to eventually do this as my career one day. And so by leaving a like, that helps push the video out to many more people. And by subscribing, that helps, obviously, hopefully, helping me do this as a career. I don't know really how to phrase that, but in today's video, we're going to be going over the top 10 interior offensive linemen in the 2024 NFL Draft, so both guards and centers. Now, originally in my schedule, if you look back a few days, initially this was going to be the tight ends. However, I decided to go ahead and I've decided to put the interior offensive linemen today, and then we're going to be going over offensive tackles tomorrow, and then in 2 days' time, that is when we're going to be going over my top 10 tight ends. So just sorry for essentially the schedule is still on. Just I'm switching up a couple of the days. And in today's video, we're going over the top 10 interior offensive linemen. So yeah, if you do enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump into this. But first thing first, as always, I just want to remind you that Jesus is King, and I pray that you give your life to him, as he has got a plan and a purpose for you. And I just truly hope that you accept Jesus with your whole heart and believe that he died on the cross for your sins and was resurrected from the dead 3 days later. And because of the works that Jesus did on the cross, that is the only reason we're saved. Many people think it's by how many times we go to church or how many times we do these good works. And while those things are good and should come to us as Christians, it's not what saves us. The sole thing that saves us and gets us to heaven is our faith in Jesus, that he lived the perfect, sin-free life, sacrificed himself on the cross, and was resurrected from the dead 3 days later. Now, a lot of people don't like that I'm sharing this message, but as a Christian, I feel it's very important to me to share this with as many people as possible. And so I don't care if you don't like it. I'm going to keep sharing this message at the beginning of every single one of my videos because it is important to me. And now with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into my top 10 interior offensive linemen. So coming in at the number 10 spot is Bo Limmer, center out of Arkansas. And, you know, it's going to be weird because I think Bo Limmer is a top 5, even potentially a top 4, top 3 center in this class. But when you combine all the different guards and all the different centers together, it's going to be a weird list. And Bo Limmer comes in at the number 10 spot. He stands at 6'5", 307 pounds, and is 22 years old. Limmer is a high IQ football player, and he has a great ability to move up to the second level in run blocking. So, of course, he's going to make that initial block on the line of scrimmage, and he's going to go up to that second level to block the safety, to block the linebacker, to block the corner, who's ever in his way, to clear gaps and to clear holes for his running back. He's got a strong punch, which is going to counter rushers, and like I said, he's going to counter rushers with a punch that he has. He's going to punch it into their shoulder, and he's going to stop them and neutralize them. When you look at what Bo Limmer excels at, he is a better run blocker than a pass blocker. He's solid in both areas, but his strength would be run blocking. But again, he's solid at both, and both can be improved at the next level in the NFL. Coming in at the number 9 interior offensive lineman, we have Zach Zenter, a guard out of Michigan. One of 2 guards. The other guard is Drake Nugent, right? I feel bad for... I think it's Drake Nugent. And I feel bad for not knowing that. Okay, so yeah, it is Drake Nugent, who I actually played... Well, I didn't play against because I was a backup quarterback, and he was an offensive lineman, but I played against him in high schools. He went to one of my school's rival high schools. But anyway, this is about Zach Zenter, who stands at 6'6", 322 pounds, and is 22 years old. Zach Zenter has strong hands, who is able to counter pass rushers. He's an intelligent player who has the discipline to not take many penalties, and he's solid in both the run and pass blocking area. He's solid at both, not elite by any means at either of them, but he's solid at both of them, and in both of those areas, he can improve at the next level. Next up, my number 7 interior offensive lineman, or not number 7, number 8 interior offensive lineman is going to be none other than Dominic Pooney out of Kansas. Now, it has guard here, but when he was in college, he played tackle, but he is most likely going to be moved to guard at the next level in the NFL. You hear about it a bunch. Peter Skoronski, I believe a lot of people thought he was going to be an offensive tackle, and I believe with the Titans, I believe they moved him to a guard, if I'm not mistaken, and I expect Pooney to make the same move because, he was a tackle with the University of Kansas, but he most likely is going to be moving to guard in the NFL. Pooney has a quick burst off the offensive line to engage with his blockers, and he is an elite pass blocker and a solid run blocker. Now, run blocking can improve at the next level, but where Pooney thrives is in the pass blocking game, and so he's probably going to want to go to a very pass-heavy offense, but if he goes to a run-heavy offense as well, he can develop better, or he can develop more as a run blocker. Now, Pooney stands at 6'5", 320 pounds, and is 24 years old. Moving on to my number 7 interior offensive lineman, and this one is going to go quick because I'm not the best at evaluating offensive linemen, so I get a bunch of help, and so this probably isn't going to be super in-depth because, like I mentioned, I'm not the best at evaluating interior, or not just interior, but offensive linemen in general, centers, guards, tackles. So I get a lot of help from a lot of outside sources. So this video may be quicker than a lot of my other videos. Now, Christian Mahogany here is at my number 7 interior offensive lineman, and he is a guard. He stands at 6'3", 322 pounds, and is 23 years old. Now, Mahogany uses his strength to overpower defenders. However, that strategy and that ability doesn't necessarily always work in the NFL, and will most likely have to develop a counter move to their pass rush and not rely fully on his strength to be overpowering, because his strength can be an asset, but when it's used to overpower defenders, that can not always work at the next level, because the NFL, everyone is big, everyone is strong, everyone is fast. So that might not necessarily work at the next level. But Mahogany is effective in pass protection and in run blocking, more so in pass protection, but he can improve in both of these areas, obviously, at the next level in the NFL. But the best thing about Christian Mahogany, from what I've read, is he is one of the best pulling guards in the entire class, where obviously you know what a pull is. The guard's going to come behind and he's going to pull, and he's going to help open up holes for his running back, and he is one of the best pulling guards in the NFL, creating lanes for his running backs. From what I've read, he is the best puller in the class. I kind of phrase that really weird, but Mahogany is the best pulling guard in the entire class. Next up at number 6, we have Christian Haynes, guard out of UConn. Now, Haynes stands at 6'2", 313 pounds, out of the University of, well, actually not the University of Maryland, out of the University of Connecticut. Let me switch that real quick. Or no, sorry. Actually, no. When it says from, that's not where he went to school. That is where he went, or that's where he was born. And he is from Maryland. And what's great about Haynes is he is great in both the pass and run blocking area. He is solid in both of those areas. When he's run blocking, Haynes quickly finishes off his initial block and then immediately makes his way to the second level. And he's also reliable in both pass protection and run blocking. Like I mentioned earlier, though, Haynes is a better pass protector. I don't know what I have written down here. Haynes is a better pass protector, and he's a reliable pass protector as well. So solid in both solid in both run blocking and pass blocking, but he is a better pass blocker and a very reliable pass blocker at that. That is what I'm trying to get across here. Next up, we have Cedric Von Prawn, center out of Georgia. Now, Von Prawn stands at 6'4", 311 pounds, and is 22 years old. But Von Braun is a very versatile and athletic player, and he has the capability of not only playing center, but guard as well. Most likely, I would prefer him at center, but if that center spot is filled up, say, for example, he goes to the Eagles, because the Eagles love drafting Georgia players. Of course, they already have Landon Dickerson there. Von Braun could easily play guard if needed, and so he's just got great versatility. He's super athletic, so he can play both. He's also got a high football IQ, and he's able to identify blitzers and rush games. The Mike backer, and he's going to be able to help his quarterback out, especially if he goes to a team with a young quarterback. Say one of the teams who drafts a quarterback who is going to be their starter this year or their starter in the near future. Von Braun will be able to help out with reading the defense and seeing what they line up with to help out a young quarterback if he needs it. He was also a leader in college football with the Georgia Bulldogs. Of course, he was part of their national championship teams, so he was a big leader specifically on that offensive line, anchoring that offensive line, and was a big part of that offensive, or I guess not just offensive team, but with that Georgia Bulldogs team. Very, very capable and a very, very strong leader, Von Braun is. Now, Von Braun also explodes off of the line of scrimmage into his blocks. And not only does he excel at run blocking, but he excels at pass blocking too. He is great in both of those areas. I wouldn't say he's necessarily elite in either of those areas, but he is very solid in both of those areas, and he has the potential to be an elite blocker at the next level with the right coaching. Moving on to my number 4, and this is kind of where the solidified top 4, these guys in the top 4 are going to go in the first, potentially second round. I don't know. I don't think all of these guys are going in the first. I think 4 through 2 probably aren't going in the first, and I think number 1, who's Jackson Powers Johnson, could very easily go in the first round, but could also slip to the second round because I've heard some things that teams might not be super high on him, but we'll get to that when we talk about Jackson Powers Johnson. For right now, we are talking about Cooper Beebe, the guard out of Kansas State, who stands at 6'4", 335 pounds, and is 22 years old. Beebe is one of the best pass and run blockers in the entire class. He excels at both. I would even say that he is elite in both of those areas. He's better at pass blocking, but he is elite in both areas. So, it's kind of hard to say he's better at one than the other. If I had to give the edge, it would probably be to his pass blocking from what I've read, but he is elite in both areas, as I've mentioned. He dominates defenders off the line of scrimmage using his pure strength. Now, he uses his strength to his advantage. Now, I don't know necessarily if it's overpowering, like I mentioned earlier, because overpowering a defender can be difficult at the next level in the NFL when everyone's bigger, stronger, faster. It can be hard to use your strength to overwhelm and overpower guys. But he does use his strength to win when he is blocking. And he's also a very versatile player who has played multiple positions on the line of scrimmage. Obviously plays guard. I believe has played tackle before. I don't think he has played center. Very well could have, but I know he has played both guard and tackle while at college. He was a big leader for that Kansas State team, as well as he plays with a very high football IQ, like I keep mentioning, able to identify blitzers, pick up extra rushers, stuff like that to help out his quarterback. Next up, moving to my number 3 interior offensive lineman, that is going to be Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia. My number 2 center, maybe for a lot of people, maybe he's become the number 1 center. To me, he is still the number 2 center. But yeah, Zach Frazier is a very, very talented offensive lineman. Frazier stands at 6'3", 311 pounds, and is 22 years old. He's great at both pass and run blocking. He explodes off the line with his low pad level, able to engage the blocker and lock in. He uses his leverage to win when he is blocking defenders, and just uses his leverage to win those blocks. But Frazier is a great athlete, and he has the versatility to play both center and guard. A lot of the times that is the case. Most likely you want to play him at center with a prospect or with a prospect of Frazier's caliber, probably want to play him at center. But if there is no opening at center, if you have a well-established center, at least for this year, and you want to play him at guard, he can very much do that as well. So he has the versatility. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I can't remember if I think it was Cooper Beebe, but Frazier also has some pretty solid strength, and he uses his strength to move defenders and open up holes, open up lanes, open up gaps for his running backs to get through and pick up extra yardage. Next up at number 2, we have Graham Barton, guard out of Duke. Barton stands at 6'5", 313 pounds, and is 21 years old. And the first thing that I noticed about Barton was his athleticism. And I didn't have to read for this I can't remember if he competed at the combine or if at his pro day, but when you look at his scores on the 40-yard dash, he ran a 4.97 40-yard dash. He ran a 4.55 shuttle and a 7.31 three-cone drill. That is extremely, extremely athletic for a lineman. So he is one of the most athletic offensive linemen in this entire class. He also has the versatility to play at tackle. I believe he played at tackle I can't remember if it was a majority of his career at Duke, but he has played offensive tackle at Duke. Most likely going to play guard at the next level, but has that versatility to play guard and tackle. Barton explodes off the snap and uses his strength to move defenders. He's got a high football IQ, helping his quarterback pick up blitzers, pick up defenders, read the defense. Essentially, he helps his quarterback out in that area. Most likely would help out with a young quarterback, but could definitely help out any quarterback. And Barton is just one of the most talented offensive linemen in this entire class. Not just the most talented guard, which in my opinion he is, not just interior offensive lineman, but one of the most athletic and one of the best offensive linemen in general in this entire class. But finally, moving on to my number 1 interior offensive lineman, that is going to be none other than Jackson Powers Johnson, the center out of Oregon, at 6'3", 328 pounds, just 21 years old. Jackson Powers Johnson is an elite pass and run blocker, is elite in both of those areas. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I've seen a lot of insiders report that maybe the media is a little bit higher on Jackson Powers Johnson than the NFL is. We'll definitely have to see. To me, I think Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be like a late first-round pick. I'd say like 20. He's going to be pick 25-ish in the first round. Now, I think that's the earliest he goes. But then I think if he doesn't go in the first round, he'll be a very early second-round pick. But yeah, Jackson Powers Johnson, 6'3", 328 pounds, 21 years old, elite pass and run blocker. He's quick and explosive off the line of scrimmage, engaging into his blocks. He has strong hands to easily overpower his defenders. Once again, that can be a little bit concerning. You want to see them win, but you don't want to see them overpower. I guess obviously you want to see them overpowered, but you don't want them to rely on overpowering their defenders with their strength, because at the NFL level, that is not going to work. But he helps take the pressure off his quarterback by, once again, picking up blitzes, identifying the Mike backer, while also being the anchor of the offensive line, because that's what centers are. Pretty much every, if not all, centers are the anchors of the offensive line. They're going to bring everyone together, because the offensive line, they have to gel. They have to become a cohesive unit. And the center is the anchor and is going to be the guy most likely to bring all those guys together. So you have to have a strong leader, and you have to have an anchor at that position in the NFL, and Jackson Powers Johnson provides just that. But that is my rankings for the top 10 interior offensive linemen. I'm sorry if it was super quick. I'm not the biggest evaluator of offensive linemen, so I picked up what I could, and I tried to give you the best information. I'm not the best evaluator, as I keep mentioning, so if you want to get more in depth and more details, I would highly suggest going and looking up one of those X and O guys on YouTube, either Bangle, that franchise guy, a lot of those film junkies who are better at, I'd say better at scouting, and that hurts to say because I'm improving in my scouting, but in terms of offensive line, I struggle, and that is my weak spot. So if you want to get more information, either read up online or look up some more information on YouTube, as there's a lot of people who are going to be out there to help you understand who these players are. I gave you kind of a brief summary, but definitely more information out there. But with that being said, make sure you go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as the support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with offensive tackles tomorrow and tight ends in 2 days. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Parker, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.